Welcome back to the Midnight Mystery Archive. On the morning of January 23, 1984, Barbara Chapman made breakfast for her two children in a small house north of Frankford, Ontario. She helped them get ready for school, and she watched them board the school bus. Then she went inside, called her mother, and spoke to her while doing chores around the house. That phone call was the last contact anyone had with Barbara Chapman alive. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, her 12-year-old daughter came home from school, and her mother was not there. She searched the house for more than an hour. She eventually found her mother's body in the garage. Barbara Chapman was 38 years old. Her murder has never been solved. 42 years later, the case is still open, still active, and still, according to the Ontario Provincial Police, receiving tips. This is the Midnight Mystery Archive and part 1 of the murder of Barbara Chapman. To understand what happened to Barbara Chapman, you have to understand where she lived. Frankford is a small village on the shores of the Trent River in what is now the city of Quinte West in eastern Ontario, roughly 82 kilometers southeast of Peterborough and about 14 kilometers north of Trenton. In the early 1980s, it had a population of fewer than 2,000 people, a tight, rural community in the limestone country of eastern Ontario. It was the kind of place where everyone knows their neighbors and strangers are noticed. The geography matters. Frankford sits at the confluence of the Trent River and the smaller Rawdon Creek. In 1984, it was genuinely small. A main street, a post office, a handful of businesses, and a school. It was the type of place where a car that wasn't recognized would have been noticed. The kind of place where the people who lived on the road north of town, where Barbara Chapman's house was located, knew their neighbors and knew what was ordinary on a January weekday morning. That community context is relevant to the investigation in a particular way. A stranger in Frankford on January 23, 1984 would have been visible. An unfamiliar vehicle on the road north of town that morning would have been the type of thing people noted, even if they did not know at the time that noting it would matter later. The OPP's repeated appeals, including the November 2024 appeal specifically targeting Northern Ontario witnesses, are addressed in part to exactly that kind of observation. Something seen and filed away, something heard in passing, something that only makes sense in retrospect. The Quinte West area in 1984 was also militarily significant. CFB Trenton, Canada's largest military airbase, sits approximately 14 kilometers south of Frankfurt. The base employs thousands of military and civilian personnel and has a significant footprint in the regional community. People move through the Quinte corridor for base-related reasons: postings, training, family visits, contractor work. That movement creates a transient population alongside the permanent one, with people arriving and leaving on schedules that are not always visible to the civilian community around them. Barbara Chapman was 38 years old in January of 1984. She lived in a house north of the village with her two children. The public record does not detail her profession or her broader life circumstances beyond what is directly relevant to the investigation. What is documented is that she was a mother, that she maintained a close relationship with her own mother, and that the morning of January 23rd began as ordinary as any other morning. The Canada Unsolved Database, which compiles documentation on unsolved Canadian murders, describes the scene this way. While Barbara prepared breakfast for her two children, someone was waiting. That framing is consistent with what the investigation has established without revealing. The OPP determined from the outset that Barbara was murdered, someone was in that house or came to that house after her children left and before her daughter came home. The window was approximately 7 hours. The documented timeline of January 23rd, 1984 is specific in some places and deliberately opaque in others. In the morning, Barbara woke up, made breakfast, and helped her children prepare for school. Both children boarded the school bus. This was the last time either of them saw their mother alive. After the bus, Barbara called her mother. They spoke by phone while Barbara did chores around the house. This call is the last documented contact with Barbara. The timing of the call has not been made public. What the call establishes is that Barbara was alive, was at home, and had no apparent distress in the period immediately following her children's departure. What happened between the phone call and 4 p.m. is what 42 years of investigation have been trying to answer. At approximately 4 p.m., Barbara's 12-year-old daughter returned home from school. Her mother was not in the house. After searching for more than an hour, the girl found Barbara's body in the garage. The cause of death, determined by the subsequent forensic examination, has never been publicly revealed by the OPP. That is a deliberate investigative decision. In cold cases, the withholding of specific cause of death information is a standard practice. It preserves the ability of investigators to evaluate the credibility of tips and confessions because only someone with genuine knowledge of the crime would know certain details. After 42 years, the OPP has maintained that discipline. The cause of death remains undisclosed. What has been released, a forensic examination confirmed Barbara was murdered. She did not die of natural causes. Someone killed her in that garage or moved her body there after killing her somewhere else in or around the house. The garage is where the documented record ends, and the analysis has to work with what is not there. Barbara's body was found by her 12-year-old daughter after more than an hour of searching. That sequence of events tells us a few things. First, Barbara was not visible in the obvious places, not in the house proper, not somewhere where her daughter would have looked first. The garage was apparently not the first place the girl looked, hence the hour it took her. Second, the search took more than an hour, suggesting the property had enough area that a thorough look required time. Third, whatever Barbara's daughter found when she opened that garage, she was 12 years old when she found it. That detail does not appear in the public record as the focus of discussion, but it belongs here. A 12-year-old child discovered her mother's body after looking for her for over an hour. That is a human reality that sits beneath this case. The public record does not document whether anyone else was present in the area that morning, whether Barbara had any planned activities or visitors, or whether anything inside the house showed signs of disturbance. The OPP has kept those details within the investigation. Public record establishes is the window, the phone call with her mother, the 7 hours, the garage, and the outcome. The Ontario Provincial Police have been investigating Barbara Chapman's murder for 42 years. In that time, the amount of information they have released publicly has been deliberately limited. What has been confirmed, Barbara was murdered. The investigation is active. The OPP has followed up on many leads over the years, and no one has been charged. What has not been confirmed, the cause of death, the names of any suspects or persons of interest, the nature of the leads that have been followed, whether any forensic evidence was recovered, or what specifically investigators believe happened in that window of time. This is not unusual. Cold case investigations, particularly those where charges have not been laid, operate under specific disclosure constraints. Releasing investigative details can compromise future prosecution, contaminate witness memory, or alert suspects to specific evidence that exists against them. The OPP's public posture on this case has been consistent. The case is open, tips are welcomed, and information that someone might consider insignificant could be the detail that matters. What the investigation has produced publicly is a series of anniversary appeals, a steadily increasing reward, and the evidence that the OPP still considers this solvable. Agencies do not renew rewards for cases they have given up on. The $50,000 reward from the Government of Ontario, renewed and publicized on the 40th anniversary in January 2024, and the subject of a further public appeal in November 2024, seeking witnesses specifically from Northern Ontario, is institutional language for "we still believe someone out there knows something." The November 2024 OPP appeal is worth examining specifically because it tells us something about the direction of the investigation. Most appeals in long-standing cold cases are general. If you know something, anything, call. The November 2024 appeal was geographically targeted. The OPP specifically sought witnesses in Northern Ontario in connection with Barbara Chapman's murder. A murder in a small village in Eastern Ontario with a specific appeal for witnesses in Northern Ontario 42 years later. 40 years later. That specificity is not accidental. Investigators do not narrow their geographic focus without a reason. What that reason is: a tip received, a lead developed, a connection to someone who later moved to Northern Ontario, is not publicly documented. The OPP has not explained why Northern Ontario. What the targeted appeal tells us is that the investigation has developed enough of a direction to make a specific geographic ask that is different from the general anniversary appeals of prior years. Something has moved, or investigators believe something can move in a specific direction. The details of that direction remain within the investigation. Any serious examination of Barbara Chapman's murder in its geographic and historical context has to address a name that the public record associates with this region, this era, and a pattern of violence against women: Russell Williams. Let me be precise about what that means and what it does not mean. Russell Williams was convicted in 2010 of first-degree murder in the deaths of two women in Eastern Ontario, Corporal Marie France Como and Jessica Lloyd. He was also convicted of 2 counts of sexual assault and 82 counts of breaking and entering, in which he stole lingerie from women's homes. He received 2 life sentences and is currently serving those sentences. CFB Trenton, the largest military air base in Canada, which Williams commanded from July 2009 until his arrest in 2010, is located approximately 14 kilometers outside of Frankford. The village where Barbara Chapman was murdered in 1984 sits in the shadow of that base. In January 1984, when Barbara Chapman was killed, Russell Williams was a 21-year-old student at the University of Toronto, Scarborough. He would not join the military until 1987. He did not have any documented connection to Frankford or Quinte West in 1984. He has never been named as a suspect in Barbara Chapman's murder. He has never been charged in connection with it. The Canada Unsolved Database, which compiles documentation on this case, includes the Williams connection as contextual background while being explicit that it is unknown whether he was ever investigated with Barbara's murder and that he has never been named as a suspect. Following Williams' arrests in 2010, Ontario police departments reviewed unsolved cases from the regions where he had lived and operated. The Toronto Star reported that police were revisiting unsolved murders after the arrest. Whether Barbara Chapman's case was among those reviewed has not been publicly confirmed by the OPP. What the Williams context provides for this case is not evidence of anything. It is geographic and chronological proximity to one of the most prolific violent offenders in Canadian history. It is the knowledge that a man who escalated from break-ins to sexual assault to murder was eventually operating in the same small area of eastern Ontario where Barbara Chapman was killed. It is a documented pattern that investigators aware of the case would have considered. Whether they considered it, what they found, and what connection, if any, exists between Williams and Barbara Chapman's murder, none of that is in the public record. What is in the public record is that Barbara Chapman was murdered in Frankford in 1984 and that no one has been charged. Barbara Chapman was 38 years old. She was a mother of two. She made her children breakfast, watched them board the school bus, called her mother, and was murdered before anyone came home. She has been waiting for an answer for 42 years. In part 2, what investigators have done for 4 decades, what the $50,000 reward means, and what it would take to close this case, and why the OPP still believes it can be solved. If you have information about Barbara Chapman's murder, contact the OPP at 1-888-310-1122 or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 1-800-222-8477. A $50,000 reward from the Government of Ontario is available for information leading to an arrest and conviction. The Midnight Mystery Archive is now on Patreon. 3 membership tiers starting at $5 a month. A cup of coffee. The link is in the show notes, and this support helps us to continue to tell these stories in the search to find answers. Echo 1953, Book 1 of the Hollis Files Mystery Series is less than a week away. That's right, July 27th, it launches officially on Amazon. The Kindle version is available for pre-order now. The link is in the show notes. Go and get that book ordered now. The early reviews are crystal clear. It's a great mystery read, 5 stars across the board. Also, and lastly, The Halls of Mediocrity, the newest podcast of the Archive Podcast Network, where we look at sports and true crime. Me hosting, my brother Jeff co-hosting, is out now. July 14th was our first episode. We looked at the 2005 Minnesota Vikings Love Boat scandal. Go give us a listen. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate the support. Thank you for listening to part 1 of the Barbara Chapman case. Part 2 next Friday. We'll see you then.